All right, friends, here's your review for Wednesday, December 6th. First question is asking to find the GCF of 18 and 24. We have to know the GCF stands for greatest common factor. And how we do that is by finding factor rainbow. So you can use that strategy to solve this answer. And we're looking for the GCF. What's going to be the answer of 18 and 24? So you can make a factor rainbow or a factor tree. Both of those work. So I'm going to start with 24. 1 and 24. This is a good review for us from our previous unit that we learned. We can't forget all the stuff we have in math because it's going to help build upon each other. So we have 1 and 24. It's even, so 2 can go into it. 2 and 12. 3 can go into it. 3 times 8. 4 and 6. Nothing times 5 equals 24, and something times 6 does, so we know we're done. Now we go to 18. We have 1 and 18, 2 and 9, 3 and 6. So now we look at both of these factor trees and we circle all the ones they have in common. They both have 1s, they both have 2s, they both have 3s, and they both have 6s. So the greatest number they both have in common is the factor 6. So the GCF is 6. Make sure you show your work for this. Second question, write a division statement for this array. Well, finding the division statement, we have to find our dividend, which is our total number. So let's count the array. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So it's 4 by 6, which means we have 24 total. And you can kind of see they're already broken into nice little even groups for you. So division is subtracting numbers into equal groups. So here are 4 equal groups. So that's our divisor, and which gives us our quotient of 6. Notice how my quotient is lined up in the ones place. That's important when writing division statements. The next one is estimation. You're estimating 178 divided by 7. Now remember, this isn't like our normal estimating of underlining a place value and looking behind it. This estimation is finding compatible numbers. So which one of these is close to a multiple of 7 without going over? Okay? So there's one answer choice we can eliminate because the divisor changes. And when we estimate in division, our divisor stays the same. So we have a 7 over here, and there's one of these that doesn't have a 7. That's D. We can eliminate that. So we look at our number in the front half of our number and think, okay, what times 7 is close to 17 without going over? So if you have your multiplication chart, you can use that. If not, you can skip count. 7, 14, 21. 14 is going to be closest to 17 without going over. So we change that to a 0, and B is our best answer. Well, let's go a step above it. Let's solve it. What times 7 equals 140? So 2 times 7 equals 14, but 20 times 7 equals 140. That 0 on the end tells me to add it to my placeholder. All right, next question is asking me to round 392,988 to the nearest 10,000. So we have to know where the 10,000 is, and that's here. So when we put our number line, we'll have 390,000. We'll add 10,000 to it, which will give us 400,000. And right in the middle, we'll have 395,000. So we're trying to figure out on this number line, where would this number go? Is it greater than 390,000? Well, yeah, because it's 392. Is it greater than 395,000? No, because this 2 is below it. So 392,988 is going to go right about here, which is going to round to 390,000. That's why we say 4 or less, let it rest. Okay, right here. This is the reason. Next question. Oh, some multiplying. But if you look, we have a pattern. Our pattern repeats, but also adds some zeros to it. So let's solve. 6 times 4. Let's say you don't know 6 times 4 and you don't have a multiplication chart. Here's a little fun method I do. It's called dot line. So you draw 6 dots and you write 4 lines. And this is going to give you your answer to 6 times 4. So you count them. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. That's 6 times 1. 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. That's 6 times 2. 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18. That's 6 times 3. 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, 24. That's 6 times 4. But it's very important we know those multiplication facts in 4th grade. It's going to help us be successful. So 6 times 4 is 24. Now our product will repeat, but the things that's going to change on them, I can tell, are these zeros. So next one, 6 times 40, cover up the 0. 6 times 4 is 24. We got 1 0 there, 1 0 here. The next one, 6 times 400, cover up those zeros. 6 times 4 is 24. 2 zeros, 1, 2. 2,400. The next problem, 60 times 400, cover up those zeros. 6 times 4 is 24. And I have 1, 2, 3 zeros. 1, 2, 3 zeros for 24,000. Next question. Breezy had 15 treats and wanted to eat them across 5 days. How many treats would she have each day? So she's a very smart dog and she plans out how many treats she's going to eat a day. So this is taking a total number and dividing it into equal groups. So our computation for this is division. So we have 15 total treats. And our divisor is 5 days. So what times 5 equals 15? Well, you can try that dot line method if you want, but the 5s are pretty easy because all you do is skip count by 5s. 5, 10, 15. So what times 5 equals 15? That's 3. So that'll be 3 treats a day. That sounds about right to what she gets. All right, now for Virginia study questions. Number 1, the Virginia Assembly later became the blank of today. So the Virginia Assembly that started way back in 1640 is now around today, but the name of it's a little different. The assembly is still there, but it's now known as the General Assembly. Number 2, the first Virginia Assembly included, so we got to think about who were all those important people back then that helped make laws. A, burgesses, B, governor, C, governor's council, D, King James. So back then, there were a lot of people who helped include in here. So it was the burgesses. They were included in here. And when this says governor, I'm thinking royal governor, and they were included. So was the royal governor's council. Those people were appointed by King James, so he wasn't in it, but he had a say-so. Number 3, people who were eligible to be burgesses were, so think, we're in the time period of 1640 of who's important during this time period, or who thinks they're important. Not saying that everybody wasn't important, but these people were the only people allowed to run for public office. Was it slaves? No, they didn't have any rights back then. B, male landowners? Yeah, they were kind of important, and not just any male landowners, but mostly white male landowners. C, female landowners? No, didn't have many rights back then for the females either. D, free Africans. Although they were free, they still didn't have their basic rights. Number 4, who was the leader of the United States of America in 1763? So this is a little preview to what we're going to be learning in our next unit. Was it A, King George III, B, George Washington, or C, no one, the United States didn't exist yet? Haha, trick question. It's no one. The United States didn't exist yet. There was a king probably still in charge, but we were fighting to get away from them. Number 5, this person was an outspoken lawyer that spoke out against taxes, saying, "Give me liberty or give me death." Was that A, Thomas Jefferson, B, James Madison, C, Patrick Henry, or D, George Mason? So we haven't learned much of this yet, but this person was a Virginia man, which all of these people listed were Virginia men, and he was raised and grew up in Hanover, Virginia, and this person was Patrick Henry. Number 6, who wrote the Freedom Document, the Declaration of Independence? A, Thomas Jefferson, B, James Madison, C, Patrick Henry, D, George Mason. So the only person that didn't write a document here was Patrick Henry. George Mason wrote a document, but it was the Virginia Freedom Document, the Virginia Declaration of Rights. James Madison also wrote a document, but he wrote the Constitution. So the guy who wrote the Declaration of Independence was Thomas Jefferson. Good old TJ. So that's a little preview of what we're going to be learning in social studies.